Anytime.
Well, brothers, I want to thank y'all for joining me. This is such a pleasure to have Brother Slade and Brother Muhammad right here on the post. You know, because I know you. I'm trying to be on the post, but y'all are on the post, right?
No. You're the navigator. You're the navigator. Moving things around.
OpenLine is a famous introduction to our community to change some things. And I wanted to let you guys know that I'm thankful that you all are willing to join us here on the post today to talk about the legacy of what you do and the legacy that you bring to the table. So I want to start off with well, let me just actually take a step back because, you know, we're missing two people here.
Oh, yes.
We're missing Brother Mtume and Judge Pickett.
Right.
But, you know, we know that they're here in spirit, so we leave spaces for them just in case.
Right. Well,
We'll pour a little libation.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Let's toast it up.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But I want to start with you, Brother Slade. Can you just tell me a little bit about this whole thing that you guys do? This open. Why even the name? I mean,
Well, I'll tell you a little story about that.
Yeah.
It was toward the end of the summer of 1989. I was in the program director's office. His name was Tony Gray, and we said we're going to do a talk show. We're getting rid of all the taped programs that we had on the air, public affairs programs. We're going to start our own. We're going to put black people on the air. That's what I want. I want black people on the air. And so, what are we going to call it? I said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to open the phones, you know, open up the lines to these folks, and they'll put, just stop right there, brother, stop right there. That's the name of the show, Open Line. And that was the name of, that's how it became, Open Line. We began our first show September 21, 1989, a Sunday. I was hosting it along with our public affairs director, Milton McLean Dennis. She's not in the radio business anymore, she lives down in the D.C. area. And that was the beginning of Open Line. And when Milton left the show in 1994, I turned to the third answer, Brother Mtume. I said, I wonder if he'd be interested in doing this every week. Because he had just started working on the score for, what's the TV show?
New York Undercover.
New York Undercover. And I said, let me see if I can draft Brother. And so I called him up and said, would you like to do a show? Because we had done shows before. We had done like year-end shows.
That's correct.
And I've known too since 1986 during interviews. You, me, and he. The one is I think it was the second album for CBS or Epic. And so I said, Brother Tunes would like to do a show on a regular basis every week. Said, well, brother, I don't know. I said, you can say anything you want. You know, you can get on the air and cuss people out, talk about their mama, whatever you want to do. I said, come on. And he said, all right, I'll do it. And he joined the show. Now, Brother Patine, I put him on our softball team. You won a contest or something like that, right? What was that contest you won?
I won a contest where you call in and you be the 98th caller, and I won $500. And on that day, if you had a KISS card, they doubled your money. So what happened, I was playing softball in the city. I was also security for the United African Movement, headed up by Reverend Sharpton, Attorney Automatics, and Attorney Seabury Mason. So by playing softball around the city, I ran into a couple of other softball players, and I saw them with KISS FM jackets. I inquired and found out that KISS FM had a team. So when I came down to pick up my winnings from the station, I inquired, and they said, well, Bob Slade is the manager of the softball team. I said, oh, okay. And they said, well, if time comes up, you know, we'll have him reach out to you. But I wasn't going to leave it up to Bob Slade, even though I didn't know him at the time. I wasn't going to leave it up to him to call me. I kept calling, and he told me when it was, I had to come down and try out. I just didn't make, you know, this was put on the team. So I tried out and made the team. And one thing led to another. You know, I inquired about volunteering because I enjoy listening to the program. So Bob said, okay, maybe one day I get you to come down. So it was a Saturday. I'll never forget this. It was a Saturday, and me and Bob was talking. He said, you know, something Reverend Sharpton was involved in. He said, oh, man, I really wish I could get in touch with Reverend Sharpton. I said, I can get him right now. Hold on. Got him on the phone, and after Bob and Reverend Sharpton had spoken, brother said, well, why don't you come on down and volunteer? So I went down to volunteer. There was 3 interns. One is a gentleman, Dean Meminger, the son of former New York Knicks ball player, Dean Meminger.
He's on New York One now.
That is right, the manager.
He remembers you.
Right, and what happens is, once their internship ended, they left, but I was still able to volunteer. As Bob was saying, there were some changes at the station, and the producer at that particular time, when Bob Slade mentioned him and Milton doing it, was a gentleman by the name of Sean Court. And 98.7 KISS was going to integrate or start off a KISS inspiration, a gospel show.
At the same time as the talk show.
Right.
Okay.
So what happens is Sean Court wanted to be the DJ, and he went into that role, and he said, Brother Fatine, I really can't produce now because I'm doing that. And of course, you know, Bob Slade said, you know, I agree. Bob Slade, of course, trained me, and I was there when he brought Brother Mtume on board. And of course, one thing led to another. I think it was the OJ trial,
Right.
where Bob Pickett would come down, and then sometimes that Mtume would be caught in the studio, and he couldn't make it. So it would be Bob Slade and Bob Pickett. And once Mtume got a better hold on New York Undercover, and things were going until then, that's how the triangle started. Bob Slade, the third answer, Brother Mtume, and of course the attorney Bob Pickett, and then of course myself as the producer.
Yeah.
That's an interesting journey. I mean, I think that you know, probably not a lot of people know that story, and I think that gives us a good opportunity to kind of see this synergy. But you know, one of the things I wanted to say that I think is important here, especially for young folks watching, is the persistence. You know, your persistence in wanting to be involved, wanting to be educated about the process, and staying to what it is that you were interested in, that led you to create the possibilities. The possibilities didn't just appear, you made them. You came in talking about baseball, but you ended up doing something completely different than that, and your persistence, your desire to be involved, created an avenue. And so for young folks out there, they have the opportunity. They just have to figure out how to create those opportunities.
Right. Well, you know, a football player, former New York Jet player, once said to me, and I use this when I go on speaking tours, I said, there's no such thing as luck. And Dan, I'll come to you in a second, the football player, Ed Marinaro was his name. He ended up starring in Hill Street Blues and all that TV shows. He said, you know, my old coach said to me, he asked the players one time, he said, what's the definition of luck? And nobody in the clubhouse knew what he was talking about. So it's when preparation meets opportunity. In other words, there's no such thing as luck. If the opportunity arises and you're prepared, bam.
Right. And I add one other piece to that, and that's perspiration. Because you got to put in some serious work.
Yeah, right.
And
well, that's part of the preparation.
Yeah.
That's all part of that. And so that's really what it's all about. I mean, you have to be. Everybody says, "Well, I'm lucky." No, you're prepared for that. You knew this was going to happen. Luck is like, you know, when the opportunity arises, you're prepared. It's like buying a lottery ticket. You know, you're prepared. You have $5 in your pocket. You put the $5 down. You bought your lottery ticket. The opportunity arose. Give me that money.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. I look into this slightly a little different because I was passionate about radio. I enjoyed music, but I enjoyed the delivery of the disc jockey. And of course, I remember when 98.7 KISS was born. Of course, Bob Slade was there. But as a listener, when 98.7 was born, coming from 99X, and BLS, of course, 107.5, I'm not saying I was a big fan at that particular time, but I was growing up on that 99X side. So when 98.7 KISS was born, as a listener, I was out there in the street, so I enjoyed what they did. Go back a little further, before KISS, I believe, was 92 KTU. How that station just popped up, and word of mouth on the streets. And the ratings that 92, it was at 92.3 KTU at that particular time, got one of the highest ratings during our old system, the diary system in Arbitron.
That was the fall of 1978.
Right.
During the disco era. Right. And that, what happened with that period is when our listening patterns changed. We didn't listen to, we wanted our music in stereo. We didn't want it on AM radio, which was dominant back in those days. So the bandwidth, the band that we wanted to hear our music on was FM, not AM. AM slowly died, didn't play music anymore. FM was the dominant band when it came to listening to music. And and that rating book came out in the winter of 1979, the famous rating book. Tony Gray, if you're out there, you had that rating book. You stole it from the radio station. But, yeah, it's a classic piece because that changed radio, period, across the country.
It definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
But as you talked about
92 KTU.
Yeah, but as you talk about being ready, about being lucky, I had no desire to be no producer. I didn't know anything about producing. But what I was doing, as I mentioned, I was security for Reverend Sharpton. But at the same time, with the softball going down, I was starting a family. And at that particular time, a lot of issues was going on in Bensonhurst, Tawana Brawley. I was one of the special security detail on, the Tawana Brawley case. I started a family, and I remember going on a protest rally with Reverend Sharpton. And my job is to protect Reverend Sharpton at that particular time. We got surrounded by some people in the neighborhood, and I didn't know which way to go because I had my wife there, who was pregnant, and Reverend Sharpton. So I told my wife, I can't bring you out here no more. But then I realized I can't hesitate on that job. This is real. I was there when Reverend Sharpton got stabbed in Bensonhurst. So at the end of the day, I said, you know what? Hey, I need to be able to continue to make a difference, but I don't have to always be in the street now. I can do it on another platform. And Bob Slade presented that platform. And he talks about, and he probably get into it, talks about passing that baton. And the brother gave me an opportunity. I didn't know anything about it, about producing. But I was passionate about radio and being able to bring that conversation into your living room. And one thing led to another, because I'll be honest with you, for 20 years I worked in a data center, computer operations, and I was producing OpenLine. And now I'm at the stage where I produce 2 national radio shows for Reverend Sharpton. I left the computer world after 20-some years, and now I'm on a national level and trying to get OpenLine and Bob Slade out there on a national level also.
Yeah, but